Alright, let's talk about some comic books. So, I mentioned before that I was interested in doing, video series about comic books. Very similar to how I do my videos about my toys. I'm just going to show them off and talk about them. Nothing really fancy. So, what better place to start than with one of my favorite things ever, Thundercats. And please excuse the glare, I'll take these out of the packages in a minute. These are the first comics featuring the Thundercats. This is under Star Comics, which is, of course, a brand owned by Marvel, which they used in the 80s for anything that had a tie-in with either a toy or a cartoon or something like that. So they had like a lot of G.I. Joes, and I think they had like Heathcliff and a whole bunch of other random stuff. So these are the Thundercats comics that they had. As you can see, I don't have all of them. I have one and I'm missing 2 and 3, but we can take a look at these. As you can see from the cover, there's the coloring on them is not so great. So the first issue here basically just retells episode 1 of the cartoon where they're leaving Thundera because it's about to explode. And as you can see, just like in the show, they do not wear clothes. One of the most infamously both hilarious and disturbing things about Thundercats. I never understood this. I mean, like, I always thought that, oh god, I always thought that, like, they were wearing some kind of, like skin-tight jumpsuit or something, because, they don't got any, what's, but I don't understand, but no, it's pretty obvious that they're not, I guess they just look like that. I don't know, I don't understand this at all. I don't think it's ever been explained or anything. But yeah, this basically just retells the first episode of the series where they're put into the stasis pods and they crash land on Third Earth, and then they wake up. And it turns out that something happened with Liono's pod, because they were in there for a long time, and he continued to age while he was sleeping, and none of the others did. Which I always found as a very interesting thing for the Thundercats, because he's basically a boy trapped in a man's body, and he has this very childlike mindset, and the others are still adults, except for the kittens. Obviously they're still physically and mentally children. But yeah, it was always a very interesting twist about how he basically sees everything through a childlike mindset, and he has to kind of learn to grow up mentally and take responsibility. But yeah, so that was issue 1, but there were some that kind of did their own story, which would have made really good episodes for the series, like this one here, where we meet this character who is a former Thundercat. Now she's a mercenary. Her name is Linksana, who is really cool, and based on the cover of issue 5, it seems that she sticks around for a little while, and it's a shame they didn't do something like that in the series, because as far as I know, as far as I can remember from the series, we didn't see any other Thunderians for quite a while. I think the 3 refugees were the next ones we saw, and then after that it went kind of, the show went kind of crazy, because then they said, oh, Thundera's back together again, and we're rounding up all the remaining Thunderians, and we're gonna rebuild society or something. It was the later episodes of Thundercats were kind of a mess, but yeah, it would have been really cool to see more stuff like this in the show. Now, you might be able to tell that I did not originally have a lot of these issues. I bought these much later. However, these 2 issues right here, this is 19 and 20, that foolishly don't have backboards, are actually the issues I used to have as a kid. And these 2 in particular tie in with episodes. In issue 19, the episode was about mammarra trying to call some sorceress from who was trapped in some void or something. Tashi, that's her name. And in order to do that, he needed certain ingredients. He needed the shoe of a unicorn, and he needed the tear of a burble, which I didn't know that they cried. I thought they were just robots. And he needed some cheetah hair, and the only cheetah around was Chitara, so they had to grab her and just cut her hair off. Here's probably my favorite bit from this particular comic, because look at Mammarra. Look at that pose he's in. He's like, ah, jazz hands. Of course they defeat her, and then Mammarra's like, ah, we're defeated, and Thundercats ho, and then it's pretty much over. Issue 20 is actually from an episode that I really like, and it's about Mammarra trying to figure out a way to defeat the Sword of Omens. So he uses his powers to try to find, a weapon that can potentially match it. So he discovers the legend of Excalibur, and he actually tricks the Lady of the Lake to give him the Excalibur. So he goes after Liono, disguised as King Arthur, and they have this amazing duel where Liono's riding a unicorn and he's trying to fight him, and then they go full-on sword fight, and then both swords kind of go crazy, and they just kind of take on a mind of their own and just start fighting each other. It's really cool. The comic is pretty much a abridged version of that episode. I think the episode was a lot better. Now you see Merlin being all like, what have you done? Get out of here. Give me that sword. Once again, Mammarra looking the fool as usual. So, like I said, the episode, actual episode, I think is better than this. Oh, that old NES ad. Look at that. What is really cool about this, it kind of illustrates how, like what a humble series Thundercats really was, because in the end, Excalibur actually bests the Sword of Omens. And, they could have just have gone straight on with, like, oh, the Sword of Omens is the greatest, most broken weapon in the history of everything, and it wins. But no, they actually established that may not actually be the strongest thing in the universe. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, that was the Star Comics for Thundercats. Pretty good, especially if you grew up with the cartoon, or if you're very familiar with the cartoon. I think you'll get a kick out of these. But now we're going to move on to some more advanced stuff, because there's many other Thundercats comics, and it's these right here. These are the Wildstorm Thundercats comics. These are all mini-series. There's just one that's just called Thundercats. Then there's Hammerhand's Revenge. And then there's The Return. And we're going to talk about this in a second, but we got to get to... I'm not going to go into too much detail about these. They're okay, but one thing I really want to talk about is the cover art, because, well, just look at that. That is just, like, what is going on here? This is just scary. And what's upsetting is that it's just kind of... It's pretty consistently disturbing throughout the entire series here. I mean, look at this. Oh, God. Oh, Tigra, stop. Just stop it already. Jeez. Oh, even Wily Kit looks creepy. Oh, no. Oh, make it stop. What's interesting is it seems that they got, like, a different cover artist for each one of these, and this one is just... Oh man, and some of them are all right. Like this one's pretty good. This one's pretty good too. That one's pretty good as well. This one, they kind of mess around with the styles a little bit. But here we have. Let me take this out of the package first, because issue 5 of the Thundercats is one of the most hilarious things ever, and I'm just gonna go ahead and show you this, because I don't even know what to say. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh, I really don't have any response to this. I mean, you You can't make something that hilarious by accident. I mean, oh my god. Oh man, look at that pose he's in too. I mean, like, that's not even possible. But anyway, let's move on, because this series, Hammerhand Revenge, again, they have very inconsistent looking artwork throughout. I mean, again, some of these are cool. Like, that one's really cool. This one's pretty cool too. I don't know what's going on with this. This is clearly a different art style. I don't know who. I'm not sure who did the cover art for all these. I'm guessing it's got to be different people. Otherwise, why is it so inconsistent? I like that they have a mini series about Hammerhand. He was the pirate leader of the Berserkers. These guys here. I felt they were kind of underutilized in the series. But then again, now that I think about it, there were a lot of villains in Thundercats. When you really get down to it, the Thundercats were pretty outnumbered, because there was Mammarra, there was the mutants, there was the Berserkers, there was the Lunatics. Yeah, things were not looking great for the Thundercats. It's a good thing they have one of the most powerful swords in the universe, or at least the second most powerful, according to the comic with Excalibur. Okay, so let's talk about Thundercats The Return, because this comic right here, this miniseries, probably one of the most controversial and infamous comic series, I'm not going to say ever, but at least involving the Thundercats, although there aren't a whole lot of Thundercats comics. Now, in its defense, ironically, this series probably has the best cover art of all of them. Like, look at these. These are cool. This one's really cool. Like, I would love this on a t-shirt or a poster or something. Look at that. That's awesome. Another really good one. There's another good one there. I like the issue 1 too. That's that would make a really cool poster as well. So let's talk about this one, shall we? So I'm guessing they wanted to do something a little more gritty with this, because the premise for this one is Liono has been inside the Book of Omens for a very long time training, and I guess inside the Book of Omens is like the opposite of the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z, where when you're in there, time kind of stands still, but on the outside, a long time has passed. So since Liono has been gone, Mammarra kind of took over, and he pretty much just wrecked everything, and he enslaved all of the Thundercats. And the goddamn ads, go away. So yeah, Snarf gets him out of the Book of Omens, and Mammarra pretty much has taken over Third Earth, and Liono is going to go after him and try and free all the other Thundercats. So yeah, this is a really good premise, but here's where things get kind of weird, because Mammarra has kept the Thunder Kittens as his own personal slaves, and he makes him wear this, which, yeah. Oh, and if you thought that was disturbing, it gets worse, because in issue 3, we have probably the most hilarious and disturbing image you'll ever see in your life. Grown-up Wily Kit giving Mammarra a bath. I have no words for this. I do not know what the hell they were thinking with this, but yeah. Just, yeah. Also, spoilers, Wily Cat kind of goes traitor on the Thundercats, and he helps out Mammarra. For some reason, yeah. You do get to see some blood in this series. I guess that's pretty cool, considering something you don't often see with Thundercats. But one of the cool things about this, probably the one really cool moment that I can pick out of this entire stupid series, is you get to see Snarf get a few licks in when he's when they're battling. So that was pretty cool. I actually really like Snarf, unlike most people. But yeah, it was really cool just to see him just go ham on some bad guys. It was awesome. All right, well, we're done with this one. So let me just show off a couple other interesting books I have. This is Thundercats source book, which not really much to say about this. It's mostly just like profiles for a lot of the characters, a lot of the side characters too. There's Mammarra, who was a character from the show, kind of underutilized. She was like a space cop, and she'd show up every now and then, but usually only when there's like a criminal about. And you know what? Now that I'm looking at her again, she kind of looks like Judge Dredd. Doesn't she? She got like the visor and the helmet, and the color scheme is similar. Like, what did Judge Dredd? I'm pretty sure Judge Dredd came out first, because I know that series has been going on for a while. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's been around for a while. Did they actually design her after Judge Dredd? Oh, that's kind of interesting. I seriously have not noticed that. Huh. But anyway, yeah, there's the Lunatics, there's Liono, there's Hachiman, who is another one of my favorite side characters, and in fact, he shows up in the Hammerhand's Revenge, which is pretty cool. I think he only showed up a couple times in the series. He showed up less than Mammarra. There's Mammarra, there's Groon, there's an ad for the WWE, there's the Kittens, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Just a neat little addition to your collection, I guess. Now, if you want something really cool, get a hold of one of these. This is Thundercats Origins, Heroes and Villains. Number 1, I'm guessing there's other ones, but I only have this one. But what's cool about this is that you get a little bit of backstory for a lot of the characters, including Mammarra. Yeah, they actually tell Mammarra's origin story, which is something they never really went into in the TV show, and it's pretty cool. Although the way he's defeated is kind of hilarious. Then you got some backstory for Cheetara, where they're on Thundera, naked, of course. I guess this is about as family-friendly as naked can get. Then you have a story about Claudus, who is Liono's father, which is really cool. You also, oh god, Super Duper Sumos. No, I'm turning the page. Let's turn the page and look at something cool. So this is an interesting little story arc here. This is like the early days of Thundera, like during the Savage times, like before they built a civilization. I thought that was really cool. Okay, before we end things here, I do have to talk about one other comic that I own, and it is by far one of the most bizarre things I've seen involving the Thundercats. It is a crossover comic. A crossover of Thundercats and Battle of the Planets, also known as G-Force, also known as Gatchaman. Of all the things to cross over with Thundercats, Battle of the Planets was not something I would have expected. But you know what? It's not bad, actually. It's a very unlikely pairing, but story-wise, it's actually pretty good. But would you believe that there are actually 2 different versions of that comic? Yes, there are actually 2 crossovers of Thundercats and Battle of the Planets. This is one comic. It just has 2 different variant covers. Once again, with the ridiculous artwork. I actually really like this one a lot more. It's a little more dynamic. Maybe it's a little too close, but certainly looks a hell of a lot better than this. So yeah, I randomly found these at a comic book shop, and I thought I couldn't believe it. And again, it's a completely different story. It has absolutely nothing to do with this one, other than the fact that It's yet another crossover with Thundercats and Battle of the Planets. And what I like about this one is that they actually mimic the art style from the cartoon, which certainly looks a hell of a lot better than whatever this is. This one's actually kind of funny because they do the old parallel universe plot point in this, and you actually get to see the Thundercats show up in the Battle of the Planets world, which leads to some pretty hilarious imagery. I mean, check that out. You know what? Panthro is totally rocking that outfit. I don't care what anyone says. I think Battle of the Planets came out in the 70s, so all of the outfits they're wearing are clearly from the time. Also, if you ever want to hear Snarf say "for shizzle my nizzle," then there you go. So yeah, those are my Thundercats comics, all the ones that I happen to own right now. I definitely want to get a hold of the rest of the Star comics. There are a few other ones out there that I would like to get a hold of. I know there's one where the Thundercats crossed over with Superman, because, everyone crosses over with Superman at some point. I don't own it, but I have read it, and it was all right. I feel like maybe they could have made a mini series out of it. I think it was just a one-shot comic, but it was okay. I think it made a little bit more sense than Battle of the Planets, even though they actually they did make this work. Okay, I'll give them credit for that. The other one that was announced not too long ago, was they're actually going to do a crossover with Masters of the Universe. Finally, that feels like something that's been coming for like 35 years. I'm glad they're actually finally doing it. I'm definitely going to check that out when it comes out. But yeah, these are the Thundercats comics. Hopefully the artwork won't haunt your nightmares, or maybe they'll make you laugh too much. So yeah, leave a comment below and let me know what you think.